This Let's Play was supported by these awesome hobby companies.
Hello folks, today I'm joined by Sherwin and Matt from Steamforged Games, and they're going to be taking me through my first look at Bardsung, their upcoming Kickstarter, I believe, for their dungeon exploration game.
That's right, thanks for having us.
So, we're playing this, obviously, because of the event, through a tabletop simulator, and in this case we're using Tabletopia. So a few of the things in here are work in progress or prototype sort of artwork and that sort of thing. So people need to be aware of that. But the majority of the game is whole here. So you'll be able to see what exactly is going on. So Matt, if you can tell us what the idea behind these dungeon exploration games is.
So what we're going to play through here is a short encounter. Bardsung is a game that follows a huge branching narrative. It's a massive choose-your-own-adventure style story to explore. And as you choose your way through the campaign, you will embark on a series of adventures, and every adventure has a number of encounters. So an encounter is a small segment of a dungeon, and in every instance, we are trying to get from one side to the other. Now, sometimes in this instance, we're going to go the short distance. Sometimes we're going to go the long distance, and there are some where we actually go from one corner to another. And as we progress forward, exploring into the fog of war, as shown by the parchment on the play area, we will be tempted with the lure of lost treasures off in the darkness. We'll certainly be ambushed by large, scary monsters and devious traps and challenges. But hopefully we will make good choices and navigate our way and explore our way to the other side of the board and be successful. But if one of us dies, because this is a co-op game, the encounter ends, and we have a fail-forward mechanism, which means that the campaign is not lost, but we certainly won't gain any XP or treasure. It's a bit Dark Soulsian in that regard.
Well, I like that because I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody in particular, but there are certain members of the OnTableTop crew who would just scream Leroy Jenkins and run into a room and not worry about what's happening to the people behind them.
We do have a mode which is known as the Sherwin mode, about which we try to discourage him. There is an old adage in role-playing games, which is never split the party.
Yes.
You can split the party in this game. You might do it once. You may do it twice. If you're Sherwin, you might do it 18 times. But eventually you will stop doing it. It's not a good idea to Leroy off into the darkness.
I think it's worth stressing. I'm stress testing when we've done.
Yeah. Oh, no. That goes without saying. That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, no, he's testing my stress every time he does it.
Well, I'm 100% behind that. So before we get into the game itself, it's interesting to note the concept behind Bardsung being this linked narrative adventure. You have a couple of big names on board actually writing the storylines, making the campaign. So do you want to briefly speak about who you've got involved if people haven't heard about it?
So we have the grandfather of all fighting fantasy and choose your own adventures, Ian Livingstone. We're lucky enough to have him on our board of directors, and he works with us not only in terms of business strategy, but you can't keep him from rolling up his sleeves and getting a bit of creative action going as well, which Sherwin and I love as fans of his work. And you have the heir apparent, Rhianna Pratchett, who has just published a fighting fantasy book. So you literally have the guy who wrote the very first one and the young lady who wrote the very latest one. So we have the full gamut of experience of choose your own adventure writers, and they are just the first amongst many designers that are writing content for this game.
Fantastic. I really look forward to seeing just how bloodthirsty, I suppose, the adventures are, because if there was one thing Ian and Steve did when they did those first fighting fantasy books, it was make sure that very few people got out of them alive.
Well, look, one of the beauties of Bardsung, because of the roguelike elements are, and as you'll see as we play through, we have less control over the combinations of bad guys and aspects. Now, sometimes you will walk into a room and there will be a couple of hobgoblins there and you'll literally catch them with their pants down and it'll be a steamroller. Next time you might walk into the very similar room with a few hobgoblins in there, but this time they've got pointy spears, they've got extra armor plating, and then there's an ambush, and next thing you know, you're going to get your pants pulled down. So you really don't know, and what that does is it creates a wonderful sense of danger as you're going forward. Now, we are heroes, we are resilient, we have lots of abilities and equipment at our disposal, but the game can rear up and give you a proper slap every now and then, which I think is nice. It keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. Well, speaking of heroes, then I suppose we should tell the people at home what we're playing. Since I've got control of the buttons, I'll go first.
All right.
So I am playing Nightfeather. And as you can see here, Nightfeather has the standard, well, all of the characters have the standard 6 characteristics you would expect from a sort of a Dungeons and Dragons RPG style thing. So I'm not particularly strong, but I am dexterous to the max. So I'm a Corax rogue. My constitution is not there, so I really don't want to be hit by anybody ever. But I have an intellect and wisdom behind me, and my charisma is not huge, which is a shame. But I do have a couple of abilities. So I've got Quick Slash, and I've got Piercing Strike, allowing me to do a bit of damage. And I also have a couple of pieces of equipment. In this case, I have the Raven's Talon and the Crow's Murder, and these could potentially be upgraded as you go. This is essentially the starting character that you play with and then develop as you go through the campaign. So adding bits and pieces to them as we go, hopefully.
Actually, on that note, all of the characters we're playing have had a few experience points spent into them.
All right, okay.
So Nightfeather would have started with a dexterity of +2. So you've had 7 experience spent on the dexterity to give them their +4 already. That's largely where Nightfeather spent the bulk of their experience as we leveled them up. But when you look at some of the other characters, Stoneheart, for example, which Sherwin's going to play, he's bought an extra ability and upgraded a couple of abilities as well. We can talk those through. But yeah, Nightfeather, this isn't your starting character. This is probably about 6 or 7 hours into your gaming experience with this, this game.
Better again. Then I've no excuse for falling over and failing miserably then. No, none of that. So Sherwin, do you want to tell me about Stoneheart then?
Sure. So I am. I'm very much a more sort of combat-focused character than most. I have the 2 weapons here. I have Ancestral Axe as my weapon, and I have Forge Father, which is mostly used for parrying in Stoneheart's case. I also have looking at my starting stats. I've got Strength is my one that's pushed up. Also a little bit of Dex. My Constitution is good. I'm again a brawler. I want being a mix of combat. My Intelligence has been upgraded a little bit, as does my Wisdom. So I'm a bit more of an all-rounder. Now, for my other upgrades, you'll notice I've got on Backswing and Balanced Thrust, which are my 2 starting abilities. They're actually upgraded twice. So there's a healthy sort of 6 XP bit into these. This gives me more accurate attacks, but combined with the fact that I'm using my Strength for them as well, gives me a total +4 to my attacks, which makes me really, really reliable at hitting things. And then finally, just to really underscore that, I've also got this Weapon Master ability, which I purchased, which means that I can spend a Fate point, and we'll get on to Fate in a little bit, I think, to re-roll any missed attacks. So I really have no excuses for not hitting stuff, to be quite honest.
That's all right. We'll find excuses whenever you fail to hit, I'm sure.
Understood. Much appreciated.
And Matt rounding out the party.
Yeah, I'm playing Dawnguard, who is my personal favourite. She is a half-orc cleric of the Sun God, and she is a control piece. So you can see that she spent a couple of XP on buying some extra abilities. So she started with, if I flip over a card, she started with Guiding Strike and Steadfast, and has added Hymn of Passage and upgraded it, and has added Wrath of Gods and upgraded it. And that is pretty much where Dawnguard spent her experience points, just to add us a lot more utility to her play. So she always has plenty of options. Steadfast is something that we will see in play, but this is where we can interact with the marching order and start moving people around and locking them in place. Gives her a lot of control over the battle, which is why I like playing her, because I'm a control freak.
Fair enough. You can't really argue with that.
No, not at all.
No. So you've said we're playing across essentially the short edge of the board, and this would be the quickest game type. Before we get kicked in, do you want to briefly tell people about the various setups that you can have, or the various, I suppose, adventures you can have through it?
Yeah, as you said, we're going across the short distance, and this is perhaps the most ubiquitous encounter type because it gives you the greatest width and is the quickest type of encounter. It should take about half an hour in the real world. We're playing on Tabletopia. It might take a fraction longer than that, just because things are slightly more awkward in virtual space. The other type is to go horizontally. Which is a much longer distance and also is a lot narrower. So is a lot more tricky as to where you place things and how you kind of progress your way across. And my personal favorite is where you go from one corner and you look to exit in the corner quadrant on the opposite side because you can't straight line it. So you are going up and across and down and left and right. And that's the one where you actually have the greatest opportunity to hoover up an awful lot of lost treasure. Which I particularly like. So the lost treasures are what you use to upgrade your weapons and armor with. So they are well worth going after.
Fantastic. So we're currently set up here to go from south to north, and there are 2 lost treasures dealt out randomly, I suppose, onto the board. So we don't know what these are, and we don't have to go after them. Although, what's the point in going into a dungeon if you're not going to go hoking after lost treasure?
Well, it also gets more spicy in some adventures. For example, the adventure that we're showing at the Kickstarter, which is the Hunt for the Crimson Hook. In order to get into the Crimson Hook's lair, you need the key. So this adventure tells you how to construct really quickly a lost treasure deck for this particular adventure. And that's a case of taking the lost treasure deck, dealing 9 cards out, and then taking a unique card from the card vault, which is the key, putting it into those 9 cards to create a deck of 10, shuffle that, and that's what you use to populate your lost treasures. So every encounter you're going, there's a chance you might find the key, which will enable you to then fast track to going and dealing with the Crimson Hook. And then if you don't find it in your adventures, then you have to go to the location on the map that tells you where the key is going to be, and then you definitely get the key. So there's definitely advantages to going out into the darkness trying to find some of these lost treasures because there's cool stuff in there and there's narrative stuff in there as well.
Fantastic. Right. Well, I think that's enough of the setup done. Let's get this game on the go and show everybody how I can die as quickly as humanly possible.
So we have set it up so that you're going first. Actually, that was a purely random draw, but I thought it'd sound more suspicious if we said we'd set it up. We operate through the marching order. It's resolve left to right. We each get 2 actions whenever we get to activate. At the end of every round, we will roll to see if our fumblings in the dark have caught the attention of a wandering monster. We'll just play it out and we'll explain it to you as we go along. It's a dead easy system to kind of to get into. The depth is how many combos and interactions we have with each other to deal with the unfolding game states that you'll see.
Okay.
So you're first.
I suppose before we kick off, I'll just quickly mention we have over here 3 tokens on the left, and that is what we have, I suppose, tossed to see what we get. In this case, we've got 2 fate points.
We have currently 2 fate points. We can get a maximum of 3. Now, if you're playing Night Feather, if you actually look at your abilities, you will see in the top right corner, Piercing Strike is free. You can use that whenever. And Quick Slash has a fate token symbol, the golden B, in the top right. You have to power that with fate in order to be able to use Quick Slash.
So it's not individual fate points; it's group collective amount of fate points, and it's up to the group.
Yeah, this is
as a collective to decide when the best time to spend these things is.
Definitely, because you can never have more than 3. It creates an ecosystem where spend, earn, spend. It's the capitalist dream.
That's what I like to hear. Okay, so I'm going to start off, and we've got 2 actions to play with. I do fancy going for that first lost treasure token over there, so I can explore through this right-hand gateway, I suppose.
Yeah, so you would move once into that zone. So you would drop yourself there, and then you would say that's the end of your move. Night Feather can actually move 3 zones, but in this instance, you have to stop and now make an explorer action. And because we're going from a room, we will uncover a corridor, and part of the explorer action is you step into whatever we explore. So if you flip that corridor over, let's see what you've got.
I flip that. It's terrible.
Okay, that's cool.
That's not the worst I've ever seen.
We've got a T junction. So we can place this any way we want. The blue is where a door is. Now doors are kind of important.
Okay.
So you can place it like this, or you can place it like this, or you can place it like that. Now, if any portal would lead to going off the board, it's automatically a dead end.
Okay. If, for example, we placed it with the door facing me, because I've just explored it, how would that affect things?
The door would be open, and the only... Oh, hello. Get Night Feather out of the way. It would basically go down like this, and there will be a door here, but you would be here. And that would be the only portal that would be available to us because that one is blocked off.
Okay. As interesting as that seems, and it means we're already navigating an open door, I think I'd rather have it horizontally. So we've got 2 ways out of that room, or out of that corridor, rather, I suppose.
So something like that.
Yeah. And this is one of the interesting mechanics about the procedurally generated dungeon is that corridors open into rooms, and rooms always open into corridors. So you're not going to end up with a room, or just a meandering corridor that never ends.
It is surprising how many times that happened in early playtests where we just went, we've had 8 corridors in a row. Check the deck. Is there any rooms in this deck?
I have played some procedurally generated games in the past where that happened quite a lot. So it's nice to see them split down so that doesn't occur. Okay.
But the other thing to notice, and if you double click on that corridor card, you'll see in the bottom left is a flag symbol, which is our icon for a challenge. So this isn't just an empty T-junction. There is a challenge in here. And the challenge is a trap door. A trap door opens underfoot.
Oh dear.
This hero, which is you, must make a target number 12 dex check.
Excellent.
If you pass, discard the card. And if you don't, bad things will happen. So
we won't even need to worry about reading anything else there. So the game itself is a D20 essentially system, and my dex is a mighty +4.
It is. So you need you need to roll this and add 4 to it.
8 or more. I mean, what are the chances of me messing this up?
That's
8. See, there you go. Fine. We're all fine here. How are you?
Super. So the trapdoor open. The trapdoor opened beneath your feet, but being Night Feather, you just leapt to one side nimbly. If you had have failed, you would have fallen in and landed on a corpse and then had to climb yourself out. There you go.
No, that was never going to happen. That's why you always send the rogue first to test for traps.
Exactly.
And if the GM says you don't see any traps, remember that's not the same as there not being any traps there. That's one for the kids. Just bear in mind, all GMs are terrible. Okay.
So the good news is that you have taken your 2 actions. So it's Dawnguard's turn. So Dawnguard is going to move 1, 2, and I think I'm going to go through this door. So I'm going to make an explore action into this area. It's going to be a room, and that in turn opens the door. And our survey says, look, there's good news and there's bad news. So the good news is we're definitely going to find this lost treasure.
Okay.
The bad news is it appears to be guarded by a bucket load of hobgoblins.
Oh dear.
So that's fine. We'll flip the treasure over and know what we're fighting for. We're fighting for a polished bloodstone. This hero may re-roll their damage. Oh, that's pretty sweet, actually. Yeah, I kind of want that a lot.
That's not bad.
Okay, so let's double-click on the card that we've just flipped over.
Yep.
You can see a number of letters. Now, this is one of the aspects of this game on Tabletopia that isn't final. These will be iconized, but we're using letters while we're finalizing the development. We use the letters to tell us what bad guys to put in there, and how many to put in there depending on the number of players. And that's how we scale the game between 1 and 5 players. So there are 3 of us, which means that we're probably going to face the full shebang, Sherwin. Is that right?
No E on this one.
No E. Okay, that's not too shabby at all. Just to make life easy, I'm going to rotate this card round so it is the right way, so we can work out where everyone goes.
My life a touch easier.
Bad guy goes. Where's that guy going to go? He's A, so he's going to go here. And unfortunately for me, Dawn Guard goes straight into the zone. Oh, and there's a brute in there. Happy days.
Oh, how delightful.
Ah, there's 2 brutes in here. That's even worse. Okay. Sucks to be me. Right. So one last thing for us to do is, because this is a combat, we get a combat aspect. And this is... Oh, no. Okay. This is a last patrol. So there is an additional D4 grunts on this tile. Let me roll a D4. Please don't get anything larger than, like... Oh, okay.
3. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there is a lot of grunts activated now. So this is fine. We're going to show you how tough it can be fighting in a roguelike game.
So, Sherwin, how exactly do you close the door behind the half-orc and leave them in that room? Just asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend. Well, we can do that, but unfortunately, because this is pure co-op, if Dawnguard doesn't make it, then none of us win.
Okay, right.
Which is not so good.
Not that I was going to suggest doing that. I just,
no, of course not.
Yeah.
No,
I can very much appreciate that.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically, the rogue worries about themselves.
But in all seriousness, we can shut the door. It's an action to do so, but I don't recommend we leave poor Dawnguard to their fate.
Oh, well, that's okay. Can you block off areas if you've already spawned enemies in there and close the door, or does that just slow them down as they have to open it to chase you?
Well, we have a resource that you can use. It's universally referred to as Adventurer's Gear or Adventurer's Kit. And basically, it represents us slamming the door shut and then whacking pitons under the door.
Nice.
So we can permanently lock a door, but it also means that we can't go back through there. But that's fine. This might not be, depending on how the marching order plays out, a terrible strategy for us to do. This is a massive fight. And as much as I want that bloodstone, I really don't want us to die in the first place.
No, that wouldn't be great.
So let us see how the Hands of Fate will deal us. So we scoop up the marching order cards, which in real life would be a simple case of just slide them up, give them a quick shuffle, and then dealing them out. But Tabletopia is just a fraction more awkward to use.
Really makes you appreciate how having physical copies of things and thumbs is so much easier.
There's the magic Night Feather card that always flips over.
Really
We've done very well from this draw.
Okay, we have a chance of... Right, so while we're doing this, do we want to back out and just slam this door shut, or do we want to have this fight for the Bloodstone? Because this is not an easy fight. It's winnable, but... Dealer's choice, what do you want to do?
Me being me would always say run away, but I am curious. If we were playing this game and we decided to bug out of this room, does that mean we're not likely to... It's not going to reduce the amount of opponents we're going to have to face, because it all comes down to what the room generates. That's right, isn't it? It's not like we've got rid of 2 brutes out of a deck. It's just we've got rid of that room.
Correct.
Yeah.
I fancy giving it a go.
All right, let's
say as a side note, because of the nature of how the dungeon is built and with dead ends and so on, we might find ourselves forced to come back here anyway.
Right, okay. In that case, definitely. We may as well wipe them out now while they don't know we're here, before they can raise the alarm.
I love the confidence.
Okay, right. Well, in which case, our plan is set. Stoneheart, you are top of the marching order, so you get to go first. 2 actions.
Yeah, so ordinarily you can't do the same action more than once, but in move you can spend both of your actions to get double move, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm built to run into the combat and do stuff. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and then 3, which will put me into here. And then I think I'm probably going to want to jump into that square with all, that zone with all those enemies. That's the reason why it will become clear at some point a little later on.
Okay. On the subject of zones, is everything a specific size, or do zones change in size? It looks like in there are some sections that look like they might be 1x2s and others 2x2.
Zones do change, and the base size changes as well. So, for example, wandering monsters always come on a much larger base, but then you will encounter other creatures on larger bases. The rule is use your best judgment. If it looks like they can fit in, then great, and if not, then that zone is full, and you can't fit any more people into that melee. So, yeah. I think we're going to explore the boundaries of when a zone fills up very quickly.
That's fine. We're all fine here.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So who's next? It is you, Nightfeather. Now, you are the master of hit and run. So I rather feel like you've got options to kind of go in. The one thing that I will point out to you, piercing strike, if you hit a normal hit, that symbol is a dodge symbol. So you will get that. You'll be able to dodge a zone. If you hit with your piercing strike, or if you're critical with your quick slash. So you can use that to kind of be quite in and outy if you want to be.
So actually, sorry, just quickly, Matt. It suddenly dawns upon me. I've moved through a zone, including containing an enemy there. I should take a parting blow as I run through.
Oh, that's true. So heroes suffer from parting blows if they move through zones that are engaged. If there are more heroes than enemies, then you do it at advantage, which means rolling 2 dice and choosing the highest result. If there are more enemies than heroes, then you do it at disadvantage, which means rolling 2 dice and taking the lowest. And if it is an equal number, then you roll just 1 dice and you take what you get. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll be rolling my dice now.
So you'll be rolling at advantage because there was 2 of us in that zone.
I'm good. I'll take
17 will do the job, yeah.
Yeah, so basically, just to talk through the numbers there, Stoneheart has an armor value or a defensive value of 2. So she is rolling a d20 plus her defensive value, and she's comparing it against the target number for that brigand, which is 10, as you can see on his monster card. So 10 or more means that she's successfully defended against his weak attack, probably because Dawnguard is tanking it for you as you go stomping past.
Of course, you keep telling yourself that.
No, that's 100% what I'm doing. I'm helping.
Of course.
I'm helping.
So then with my movement of 3, that's 3 zones I can move, so I could potentially move up. Can I attack through the doorway, or do I need to be into the room?
You will need to be into the zone unless you have a range of greater than 0. So if you look at your character card, top right, you will see your range indicator, which for Nightfeather is 0. And below that, you'll see your damage type, which for Nightfeather is a d6.
Okay, so I need to get in there and do the mission. I think is the phrase. And you can move through, but there may be some dodging required. Well, if I go, can I get into here, into this corner?
Yeah, that's cool.
So that is going to require a roll as you run past the brigand.
So you're leaving this zone here?
Yep.
So your defense is 1. So you are rolling d20 plus 1, and because I am tanking, then you get advantage on that.
Yeah. So you can, there you go. You can select for using shift to select.
Shift select 2 and then press R. So 10 is your highest. Interestingly, if you took the 1, which you wouldn't want to do, rolling a natural 1 or rolling a natural 20 creates a point of fate for us.
Ooh.
But
no, not this. I'd rather not have the fate, but still be unwounded.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
So you've moved into the zone with Stoneheart. There are 3 brigands there.
Yes.
You can make an attack. Use one of your abilities.
I would love to make an attack. So it will have to be a piercing strike, because I'm not going to spend fate this early until we see how things pan out. So a normal will get me a dodge. A critical will do additional damage, potentially.
It would do a serious hit. Now, if we look at the brigand card, we can see that a serious hit on one of these things is actually enough to kill it. So on most enemies, you have, obviously there are 2 different levels of effectivity of wounds. There are light wounds and then serious wounds. A light wound, they simply gain a wound token. If they suffer a serious wound, their card will tell you what to do with them. In the case of the brigand, it has that little skull and crossbones, which means it would be killed. So we kill that brigand. You'll notice on the brute card next to it, that one actually flips over when you do enough damage to a serious wound. So a slightly different beast. As we've said, as we've sort of suggested, on the brutes, they're big chunky things, and we need to do an armor break on them, almost like sort of beat their armor before we can actually hurt them.
bring them down completely before we worry about the others. Okay.
The other thing that is interesting, which will come into play in the future, but if you look at the special ability on your piercing strike, you actually get technically an advantage on your damage rolls if your target is the only target in that zone.
So if I can isolate people or
exactly, if you can catch them on
pick
their
off
own,
the weaker ones, yeah,
you can pick them off.
So with that in mind, bearing it is your first game, we could just drop you back in the square you just ran through for the purposes of this. Bearing in mind, obviously, I imagine you wouldn't have read that rule necessarily before. If you want to have a better chance,
and just attack the one that Dawnstone's tanking.
Yep, that's fine, because I'm going to go next, so I'm going to go way deeper in to try and tank a few more things.
Okie dokie. So where'd be the best place to set me for that?
Yeah, just so literally just in the zone. So as long as you're there, you go, perfect.
So,
I'll
no!
Stand you. Sorry, I'll stand you up.
Good luck, Skipper.
Yeah.
Okay, so then attacking the individual.
Cool. So piercing strike. So let's just talk that through quickly. So piercing strike, because of the little green symbol next to where it says normal and critical, is our dexterity symbol. Means you use your dexterity attribute. So Night Feather has upgraded hers to +4. Yep. So you are rolling d20 +4, and you are comparing that to the target number of 10 for a brigand. So 10 or more means that you've hit.
And if I fail, if I get 5 or less, I can re-roll because it's the only target in the zone?
No, that's only your damage roll.
Oh, it's only the damage, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I need to hit.
Yeah, you do need to hit. So
that's a terrible shame. Here's hoping. Oh,
well, there's good news and there's bad news.
Yeah, isn't it though?
I'll flip over the fate now.
We'll get a so yes. So as foreshadowed, we get a fate point when we roll a natural 1. Sadly, you slash at thin air, but we do generate fate.
In my defence, there was a massive half-orc ass in my way.
If
that hadn't been there, I would have hit.
The one way to look at this is what I really saw there is Night Feather ran into the room and generated a point of fate for us.
Yeah,
good job, Night Feather.
Yeah, well done, me. Congrats, well done.
Okay,
I feel.
So I'm going to have a quick look at the state of the battle, the marching order, because the brigands are going to go and then the brutes. I feel like I want to try and pin a brute down. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use. I am going to spend a fate point. So I'm going to flip a fate point over, and I'm going to use Steadfast. Steadfast is an ability that I start off with that allows me to place a pin token on one of the characters. I'm going to put it on Stoneheart because she is currently top of the marching order. That means that she is definitely going to hold that position on the next round. If I upgrade that ability, it means I can start moving people around on the marching order, which is incredibly powerful. So that's my first action. My second action, I think, is going to be, well, look, I'm going to take a parting blow and try and move into this zone with this big old brute here, just so he hits me and not piles in on Stoneheart. So I'll take a parting blow, and I have defense of 1, so I need a 9 or more.
I remember you'd be at advantage. Oh, don't need any.
That's fine.
Show off. Well, you should roll your advantage anyway in case you get a crit.
Yeah, 20.
Oh yeah, that's true. Let's do it. And no, it's not worth it.
I'm glad it was advantage.
So that's me done. That was a steadfast and a move action. So now the brigands go. So let's pull over their AI card. I'm just going to put it right in the middle of the table here, so it's easy to see. This uses a refined AI system. You start at the top and you work your way down. And every time that you can do one of these things, you do it and then your behavior ends. Okay. So Ferocious is attack the same zone. If you don't have someone in the same zone, you will charge someone who is unengaged. If there is no one within range who is unengaged, you will charge someone who is engaged. If there is no one who is engaged and within range, then you just simply move towards the closest hero. In every instance, the tie break is always the marching order. Okay. So for this particular combat round, Stoneheart is target numero 1. So the brigands are going to activate. The 3 in the zone with Stoneheart are going to do the first behavior, which is attack the same zone. So you get to make 3 defense rolls, Stoneheart. Stoneheart's defense is +2. and the brigands is target number 10. So 10 or more on these 3 rolls, you should be able to tank them very easily. I'll be surprised if you
This one is
fail a
good.
single one.
Second one is good. And
Mhm.
the third one is
Ooh.
a natural 20.
Hey, so we get fate back for that. Now this guy here in the middle, he has no one in this same zone, so he's going to try and charge an unengaged zone. Well, we're all engaged, so he's going to try and engage an engaged zone, and we are all engaged. And so he is going to go to his tie, and we're all in range. So he's going to go to his tie break, which is Stoneheart. So he is probably going to go in and be the last model we can probably comfortably fit in this zone.
We've got, unfortunately enough for me, we've got a little bit of space in the corner here.
Oh,
so
right, okay. That's
plenty more yet.
all right, fine. So you're getting backed up into the corner by a huge swarm of hobgoblins. So make another defensive roll.
Yeah, so a charge is a move and followed by an attack.
Yep. And
One
yeah,
this
you're going
time.
to take a wound. As Bill the Butcher would say, that's a wound. And then this last hobgoblin brigand over here, same exercise. Unfortunately for you, Stoneheart, he is just going to come in and he senses a bit of a kicking going on in the corner. So
That's
another
actually
defensive roll,
weirdly that's
please.
fine to me. I'm quite happy for them all to charge in. I was happy for them all to charge in.
Oh, okay. That's not the plan.
No.
All right, cool. So
Not so much.
that's the brigands go. So the brute is now going to go.
You conveniently missed the one that's going to
Oh
stab.
yeah, one attacking Night Feather.
Hmm.
All right. So defense. Your defense is +1. So D20 +1, 10 or more, easy peasy.
3. Not
Okay.
so,
You're
not
going
so
to take
easy or
a
peasy.
I'll grab your
wound
wound
from
token.
that. What you'll see if you look at the brigand card is when they hit, they do a wound. Some bad guys have a miss effect as well. So even if you successfully defend, they still do stuff to you.
They do something to you. Yeah.
So that gives
That's
us another
terrible
kind
of them, isn't it?
thing to think of. Right, so definitely brigands are done now. So the brute is going to go. Let's do the unengaged brute first. Now, interestingly for you is he's going to he can't attack in the same zone. There is no one who is unengaged. He is therefore going to target the highest in the marching order, which is you, Stoneheart, but that zone is full. So the next person he can get to is going to be Night Feather.
Mm.
He's going to move 1, 2 and attack you straight in here. So Night Feather, you need to make another defense roll, and this time it's 11 is the number you need.
Let's see whether or not I can actually make this one. 10 or more, 10 or more, 10 or more. Not so much.
So that's a wound, and the brute also has a push effect on their. So you are displaced by 1 zone. Now you can choose where you go.
Mm.
You are displaced by 1 zone, so you can either go deeper into the room or further back.
All right, so I don't have to go. I don't have to be pushed out into the corridor,
No.
separated and murdered to death.
Correct.
I
You
don't
could
like to
jump
be
into the
separated
middle
and
if you
murdered
want
to
to.
death. So I can jump into here.
Yeah.
Which is, fair enough. I'll do that then. Don't think I'm particularly at home to it, but I'll do it.
That's cool. And then the brute
That's-
attacking me is going to be 11. I'm +1. Easy. Tanking it on my massive shield. And
What
that,
idea was it to come into this room again?
yeah, right. That is the end of the round. So while one person would scoop up all of the cards, not including Stoneheart because they are pinned, someone else will grab a D6 and they will roll to see whether wandering monsters have been attracted to our noise. So if you roll
Okay.
a D6 and
So
the
this
number that we
is-
don't want to see is a 5+,
3.
that's good news.
I thought so. We have to have
it-
some good news.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are both on 2 wounds, so
Mm.
yeah, this definitely could be better.
I feel, in many respects, that the dwarf is less worried about the 2 wounds than I am.
I think that's fair.
Well,
But
you've got
at
your
the same
full
time,
focus,
I think the dwarf is less worried about the wounds because it's just seen they've just seen the marching order this turn.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
Oh, my word.
yes.
Thanks for the pin assist. Good of you.
You are very welcome. Just
Right,
don't
so-
do too many of those, otherwise the brute's are going to come in and slaughter you.
Well, so I'll go first, and let's do this. He says. So my first one I'm going to do is a backswing. So backswing actually costs a fate to use. However,
I've got that for you.
thank you. The good thing about Batswing, or the really good thing about Batswing, is although it looks much like he's got the same profile as Balanced Thrust does, you can see on here that if it hits, after resolving the effects, I apply the same effects to another enemy in the same zone. So this is really the part where hopefully I'm going to start mowing through some enemies at this point. So I'm going to make my attack, because it's a strength-based test.
Which is, after all, the reason we brought the dwarf along.
But there has to
So
be
I
some
have
reason.
+2 from this to my strength natively, and I also, because of the upgrade, have another +2 on this for +4. And I'm trying to hit 10. Watch me now roll very, very badly.
Hey!
Apparently not so much. So we'll flip that over.
Right.
Now, really, that's a really, really good result for Backswing. If you roll a natural 20, not only have I generated a point of fate, but because I've done a critical hit, I automatically do my critical result on my attack as well. So that's going to be a serious wound on the brigand I attacked, which is going to kill it, as we know.
Yeah.
You don't have to roll the D8 in that case. It's just automatically applied.
You got it. Yeah.
Yep.
So ordinarily you would have to roll to wound to see if you get a critical, but because he's rolled a natural 20, he automatically crits, which is brilliant.
And that's also going to kill another one as well because of the full effect that Backswing has. So that's killed 2 of these guys.
My word.
Well played.
And now for my follow-up.
I never believed what the half-orc said about you. So.
And then for my follow-up, I'm going to do a Balanced Thrust, which doesn't require me to spend any fate this time. I still have the +4 to attack, which is good. I'm going to attack another one of these guys in the room with me. That's a 1.
Ooh.
But I am going to spend I'm going to use my Weapon Master ability, which is a passive ability, which means I can spend a point of fate to re-roll a missed attack.
I think you should.
I do like
I'm 100% behind you on that.
There you go. See, I like the way that at least 2 of us are there, so that's good. I won't pick up that dice because obviously
I reserve my
just
judgment
roll the
to
one.
see whether you hit or not.
Well, anyway,
Sad times.
it's a shame. If I'd hit with both, my fate generation rule meant I would have generated a point of fate.
Yeah, that would have been quite cool, actually.
But
Okay.
never mind. Not to worry.
These hobgoblins are defending this polished bloodstone, and no mistake. Right, the brutes. So the brute is going to activate. So this guy here has no one in his zone. So he's going to try and charge an unengaged zone. Night Feather, you win.
I win. Well done.
So he's going to come. He's going to come barreling in and try and kind of crack you on the back of the head.
Coming at me like Cleopatra.
Right.
Isn't that what
So
the kids
plus
say?
1 on this. You need 10 or more on this dice.
So close. I mean, practically there, really.
That's another wound. Okay.
Let's not think of it as another wound. Let's think of it as
there's
only one
another
remaining.
push. There's another push going on. So you can displace yourself. Now, ordinarily, I would say come into my zone, but don't do that because the other brute will then target you.
No, I'm fine where I am. I will displace myself, I think, back.
Fine. No problem. And then the other one's going to attack me, and I am +1 on this roll. 10 + 1 is 11. That is what we like to call German efficiency.
Showing off.
Exactly what we needed, and that's exactly
Just
what
quick
we
side
rolled.
note on your armor. You rolled it's 11, isn't it? That's why. Because
Yeah.
the brute. Yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking. Oh, +1, you hit 10, but you didn't. It's a brute. Ignore
No,
me.
so it was 10 needed on the roll with my mighty armor of beak. I think.
Yeah.
I'm
beak
used
and
to
feathers
playing
not
Light
particularly
Weaver.
good.
I understand your pain all too well.
All right, so the brigands. So 3 brigands are going to carry on kicking the dwarf in the corner.
Well, I'd rather they didn't. But the
10
first
is
one,
good.
The second one, I've generated a point of fate, and that's the only thing I can say about it. And the
Okay.
third one, I've generated another point of
Generate
fate.
another point of fate. See.
The dice today are very all or nothing.
Right, so this guy here is no one in the same zone.
Yes.
Is going to target an unengaged zone, so he's going to come storming after you.
Of course he is. Why would he not?
You can't get away from me.
Don't do it,
So,
brigand. I will make you pay.
Yes.
I feel like rolling the 20 again because, I mean, what are the chances it's going to come up with 1?
Right.
Oh, 13.
Okay.
That'd be a critical in the near side project.
That's that's the thing of beauty. So you nimbly step aside and manage to not die. So that's good.
Well done,
Right.
you for not dying.
Well done, you for not dying. Right. What are we going to do now?
So just while Matt's having a quick think, one of the big things we try to inject a lot of into Bardsung is a lot of dynamic movement when you actually have battle happening. There's lots of thinking sensibly about positioning, like Matt did, for example, when he pinned me in the marching order to make sure I would go next. There's stuff where the brute has barged into the same to the same zone as you and bashed you away and isolated you out. So then that way, the others can then jump on you. That sort of stuff. And as Matt's character, I'm sure, is going to demonstrate, also other things that Matt has is lots of pushes and lots of repositioning. So Matt could actually, once we've actually cleared up a bit more space, could actually feed enemies into me for Stoneheart's ability to kind of hit multiple enemies at once by lots of pushes and moving enemies around and so on. And when we start looking at environmental elements coming into this, like gas or water or fire pits and that sort of stuff, that's really when it starts to be even more of a sort of tactical depth. Because obviously at that point, if you can push an enemy into a fire pit, well, the fire will do the job for you as well as anything.
Happy days.
Right, so I am going to right. Okay, so I'm going to reapply Steadfast to you, Stoneheart, because I like you being first, and I'm also going to use Hymn of Passage on you, Stoneheart, to move you up to 2 zones, and I am going to move you to here, and that is my go.
Okay, that's Nightfell.
So Nightfeather, deal with this guy, and I think we've got the fight under control.
Yeah, I mean,
and there's
why would I not?
Fight there if you need to use it for a quick slash.
I'm thinking it may not be a terrible idea.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the way that you generate fate, every time you dispatch an enemy, you generate a point of fate. So, yeah, well worth spending quick slash to get that wound on him, and then hopefully finish him off with a piercing strike. And then you can dodge wherever you want.
I mean, because it is a dex attack, I'm still getting my +4, so...
Yeah, and if you're going to dodge, looking at the way this board is laid out, dodging into Stoneheart is not a bad shout because you can hide behind him, knowing that he is top of the marching order and will be for next turn as well because I've pinned him in place. So this is that kind of tactical depth that this game really kind of delivers in quite a lot of different ways and different of thinking about what you're going to do. So you've got options. You're not you're 1 wound away from death, but you also many options away from glory.
There's 18, 22 in total, so definitely a hit.
Yep. So with quick slash, it's D6 against his toughness of 4, so 4 or more to see if you can get that critical.
Be lucky.
The critical.
Well, you can re-roll, remember, as well, because it is on its own.
Oh, nice. 4 up. Ooh,
yeah,
6. That'll do it.
Don't even need it. All right, so that is a serious wound, which is enough to take a brigand out, and
replenish the fate as well for.
Exactly, and you get a dodge. I think no, you just get the damage, don't you? Yeah. No, you get the damage and the dodge. So you can dodge.
Yep.
So you could dodge into the same square as Stoneheart or me would be a good idea, and hide behind someone with a bit
hide behind someone. So erring on the side of caution, because I am by nature a cautious fellow. If I was to dive in beside yourself, Matt.
Yep.
Because Stoneheart's higher in the priority order, I've been pinned in place. If somebody does come looking, they're going to go that way and not towards you, which means there's less chance of me being hit.
Also true. Yes, you can nimbly get in the corner. And what you can do here, I've got him, is you can, because that is dodges a free movement, you've still got an action, so you might even be able to flip this guy over onto the weaker side as well, which is kind of cool.
In that case, I shall try that then. No. There's no point in going for quick slash. There's no bonus to it, so just a piercing strike.
No, and in any event, you've already used quick slash this turn.
All right.
So you can't use it again.
One ability per turn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So +4 again.
Yep.
And our survey says 19 this time.
That is a hit. Now, what we'll see is piercing strike allows you to re-roll the damage roll. If it's only enemy in zone, so you effectively get 2d6 at this, and you pick the highest.
And I need a 6 because of his toughness.
His toughness is 6, so he is a tricky customer.
Oh, we haven't broken the armor just yet.
We haven't broken the armor just yet.
No.
No. So you only get the dodge from your piercing strike, which I rather suspect you don't
No,
want to use.
I'm
Yeah,
not going to bother with that. I'll just stay
Yeah.
in the corner here.
that makes perfect sense.
Ticking
Right.
the brute.
End of the round. Someone roll a d6. Someone shuffle us.
I'll shuffle the cards in the meantime. You pinned me, didn't you, Matt?
Yes.
Our survey says 5. That's bad.
Okay. That is bad. So
You
that
let me roll these.
right. So basically, an echo token out in the distance in the dungeon. A call, a scratching, some claws on stone. We can hear something coming this way. Now, mechanically, tiles connected to each other through open portals count as an area.
Okay.
Doors break areas. Next time a wandering monster is activated, it will move through the current area to where the heroes are. So if this door is open, this wandering monster will appear in
Come
this room
straight
with
in.
us. If this door is closed, then the wandering monster will come to that door and then threaten us. If we roll again, then it will come through the door. So shutting that door before the end of this combat round is probably a priority.
Larry
Right.
Grayson used to say, shut that door.
Shut that door.
It's one
Okay,
for the kids in the audience there.
Right.
They're going to be big fans of Larry Grayson.
Right, Stoneheart, you are up.
So I'm going to try and hit the brute with a balanced thrust, I think. Let's go for that.
Oh God, I feel like you need to get into the same zone as us.
I did, but that's going to miss, unfortunately, because it's got 11, hasn't it?
Yeah, Weapon Master.
I could Weapon Master. Yeah, let's do that.
Do it.
I'm just very conscious I'm going to spend all of the...
I've
here, I'm gonna
absolutely no
spend all
doubt
of
there'll be more 20s and 1s coming any moment now.
I like your style. All right, we'll flip that over then and roll again.
If anything, that was worse. Just in case you didn't notice there, Sherwin, I mean, that was a significant reduction, and that was already poor to begin with.
This is kind of why I said I'm not sure about I want to spend the fate. So I
no,
could,
you were right not to spend the fate.
Well, I now need to spend another
talked you into that.
I now need to spend another point of fate to try and do my second attack, but I'm wondering whether that's a necessary thing or not. I'm actually kind of thinking, much as is the renowned Sherwin's tactic, I'm wondering whether we should make a break for the door, to be quite honest. But
I mean, you could try and run out to the T-junction and shut that, but then we'll have to deal with the wandering monster, so...
I'd rather not. I think the problem, the wandering monster gives me an issue that I don't really necessarily want to go back. I'm more thinking of going forward and shutting the door.
Oh, God.
But that's fine. I will, rather than incur your wrath that way, or sort of endanger everybody, I'm going to jump out. No.
Are you coming to the same zone as us? I don't know.
I don't necessarily know there's much point there. I'll just stay where I am.
All of these options are bad.
I could do a backswing, but I'm very conscious that I want Nightfeather to be able to try and kill the brute they're in the room with. Sorry, it's in the same zone as them. So let's not for the time being. I'll skip my next action.
You're just going to hold. Okay, fine. Right. This is the worst instances. The brute is now going to go. So we need a defense roll from Stoneheart, and sadly, Nightfeather, you're going to need a defense roll as well.
That's all right. I'll wait to see whether or not Stoneheart survives first.
I'm okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Look at you.
Right.
I'm okay. Oh, look at me.
Come on.
I can roll over 10.
Yeah.
Yay!
Okay. Whew. All right, good. That is the brute's go. So Nightfeather, it's up to you.
Okay, so very simple. I'm going to kill this brute. Well, at least flip his card, bounce out, shut the door. Then everybody can just start cheering me. That's how I see this breaking down.
That sounds good.
And then a horde of goblins will jump on you.
Yeah, that's fine, but the door will be shut.
That's true.
Fair enough.
Okay, so...
You do that. Hit him, dodge out, and then shut the door. That is definitely a master stroke.
I think if it pans out, it will be spectacular.
Yeah, I like your style.
I don't know if it will pan out. A normal hit would give me a dodge anyway for piercing strike.
Yep.
Is it worth?
Yeah, I think that's a sensible one.
Yeah.
If you strike, you're definitely going to get your dodge as long as you hit. Because you are hitting him and he's got chains on his... you are rolling at disadvantage, so you do need to roll 2 dice.
Okay.
and take the lowest, sadly. But you 6 or more on either, 7 or more on either
7 or
dice,
more.
and we've succeeded.
It's a point of fate.
Yeah, that's something.
It's not a great thing, but it's something.
I still feel like dodging towards that door or getting towards that door is a good thing. So you could try. Oh, quick slash is not going to be any good, is it?
No.
I would just. You're going to have to take a parting blow. All of these are bad right now.
Either way, I don't have the action left without the free dodge to
Yeah, I
close the
think
door.
perhaps a quick.
Just stay there and hit him. Then I
Slash is
think.
the answer.
Mm.
Quick slash is probably the right way of doing it. Whether it actually damages him or not, you may get a dodge result out of this, may not.
Okay, so same again, but
Yeah, come on, 7 or more.
but better this time.
Yeah,
7 or more. Oh,
they're very, very close.
Okay, right.
Even in the virtual world, dice hate me.
Okay, so I have got a cunning plan, but it doesn't involve me being able to shut the door.
I mean, what are the chances the wandering monster is going to come in?
Right. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to use Wrath of Gods, which is a magical attack which bypasses his armor. It is going to cost our last point of fate. I am going to try and hit him with +2 against 11, but I'm rolling normally. This needs to hit. Come on, baby. Don't let me down. Come on, baby.
Can't remember. It's low was what we're aiming for, isn't it? No, high.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shame, because I've been deliberately aiming for lows.
Right. Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to take a parting blow, and then I'm going to run in and tank all of these guys.
That's me. Put me
You
back.
may want to remember.
All right. Sorry.
I do like the way that
you're not
you,
sacrificing the crew. Bloody half orcs.
Parting blow.
Oh my god.
Good. Okay, that's fine. That's the end of my go. So the brigands are all
that for your attack, Matt.
Sorry?
You could have just rolled that for your attack.
I know. That would have been so better. Right, okay, so 3 defense rolls against those brigands who are going to attack me because I'm now in the same zone is
Nice.
fate points, a success, and a fail. I'll take that. I'll take that in a heartbeat.
Is
so
that your first hit?
that's my first wound.
Oh my god.
And in the meantime, I will put these cards back away.
Right. Please do not spawn the wandering monster.
I leave that part up to you guys.
It's very decent of you. I'll do it. I mean, what are the chances? Yeah, we're fine. 4's fine.
Okay, good.
See?
I will just double check we've actually shuffled here because they're all coming out exactly the same order. Don't mind me.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I hadn't now.
Yeah, if you could just make sure that they were shuffled.
Oh, excellent.
Right. Okay.
It's all right. I think always
half orc filling in a minion sandwich. It's delightful.
Okay, right. So the brutes. Well, look, you guys have got to make your defense rolls.
I'm okay. I've got 5 wounds, but I appreciate our.
Yeah, now you got 4 wounds.
I had 5 wounds.
Night feather.
Spin the wheel, make me rich, make me rich. Yes,
good
there we
stuff.
go.
Good stuff.
Nothing else. I'm slowing them down. I'm sure this Corax was dead by now, but no.
Cool. Right. So Dawnguard, what are you gonna do? Have we got fate? We have got fate. Interesting. I just feel like I don't really want to spend that fate. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a guiding strike on one of the brigands in front of me. I am +2 on this, and I need a 10 or more. Beautiful.
That'll work. Yes.
That is a hit. I am going to push. Oh, I'm going to roll see if I get a crit first, actually. I am a D6 champ. Am I a D6? I am a D6. And I need 4 or more. Not this time, but I'll take the push. I'm going to push one into the same zone as you, Stoneheart, for backswing reasons. I get a point. No, I don't get a point of fate for that because I am on my own. What do I want to do now? I don't think I really want to do anything because I don't want to burn through our fate. All right, I'm just going to stand there and tank these guys because I don't want to use our fate up.
Okay.
It's very generous.
You get to
Actually,
tackle.
no, that's a lie. I am going to disengage at disadvantage to stand by the door. So in case that wandering monster comes through, it's going to hit me first. 8 + 1 is 9. Not enough, so I'm going to take another wound for my troubles. But that's fine.
It's all right. It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Wow, how very generous of you.
Anytime.
Right, come on. We knew this was going to be a tough fight, but this is really tough.
Okay. Well, it looks like I've got a roll.
Brigands are going to go.
I'm okay.
Oh, you're okay. So this one is going to try and unengage, so me.
Yep.
And the other one's actually going to be me as well, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
He's going to come into there. Oh, I've got, dear Tabletopia, why have you got physics on the models? Right, two of these rolls. And our survey says 1 more wound. I feel like we're going to be having a short rest after this fight.
You're catching us up. That's how I like to view
Let's
those
probably
wounds.
shut the door before we do that.
I am going to shut the door as soon as I possibly can. Right, that's the Brigands go. Stoneheart, do your thing.
Okay, so I'm half tempted if I want to go for the big, spectacular swing to balance strike the brute to switch its armor over, and then do a backswing on
to
the other
try
guy
and
and
do
then
them
kill both.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounds like something we should definitely. But why have we not been doing that from the start?
It sounds hopelessly optimistic, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
balance thrust on the brute, in which case, which I really want to shift. Sorry, 1 second. Just select both. And that's unfortunately not going to hit it.
You can't re-roll either because we need
I'll
that.
roll that. I will now backswing the other one.
Fine.
And go for an attack.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to hit the job. So that's going to do it. And I'll roll my damage roll. So my D8, wherever that's distributed off to. And unfortunately not enough to just do a light wound. So interestingly, that has caused a light wound on the sensor. Oh, sorry, on the brute even.
Mm-hmm.
That means that, as per the thing, instead of suffers a wound, instead of putting a token on it, you flip the card. So now the brute is in its vulnerable state. Brutes are now easier to hit. They've lost those chains around their target number, and their threshold has dropped to 4. So that was quite. And also, if we do a serious wound on them, they die. So, Night Feather, that felt like quite an important thing for you.
It does seem to be, yes.
That's a good move. And also,
a wound on that brigand as well.
Yeah, that brigand's kind of got a wound as well.
Bloodied.
When I've finished messing about with him.
I'll wait for you to finish with the disco dancing.
So,
Guys,
once you break through the armor on one brute and flip the card, all of them are in that state.
Correct.
So if I manage to kill the one in front of me, does that leave the other brute in that state? Or?
No. Yeah, if you look at the bottom of the card, it says if an enemy of this type gets killed, flip this card back over. So the other one will go back to being a tough nut. But
so just because you've hit one of them doesn't mean that all of a sudden they're going to become a
correct
a steamroll opportunity. You still have to fight for it.
This way, but what we've got is an interesting state here where we tactically have a couple of choices. We can isolate them out by hit one, sort of make a chink in its armor and then finish it off, and then they flip over and then repeat the process each time. Or we can, if we're not too worried about the hits that might be happening to us, sort of hit them to make them all vulnerable, do a bit of damage to each one of them, and then flip the card. But actually, eventually, when you kill one, flip it over. But now all of them are wounded for the next turn.
Okay.
Yeah. I just think because of our game state right now, you guys are 1 wound away from. So
croaking. So I'm going to go and try a piercing strike. And if I finish it off, we'll get a fate point back, which may be handy for later.
That is true.
Like a star.
All right.
And is it still 11, or has he dropped to 10?
He's 11, but you're
11.
rolling at normal, not disadvantage now.
So 1 dice, 7 or more.
Yeah.
With my +4 dex.
Yeah. Now he's
done.
So
and his toughness has dropped down from 6 to 4 now in his vulnerable state, and he is isolated.
So you get the reroll if you want it. Pretty
Reroll.
unique,
May as well just roll 2.
Yeah, roll 2 and take
At
the
the same
highest.
time, our survey says 5,
That's
Oh,
it.
good.
so that will do it.
That's a wound.
That's more than a wound. That's a
That's it.
serious wound.
That's
Okay, so that is
dead fellow.
a dead dude. So let's get a point of fate for that because you're Night Feather.
Hmm.
Night Feather.
And-
That's flipped the brute card. Unfortunately, that's not gone
Yeah.
back.
But I also have, with Piercing Strike, it gives me the
Dodge.
opportunity to dodge then.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
got dodge.
You could even dodge in, and
I'm thinking either, is there room to dodge in beside
yeah.
yourself, Dawn?
Yeah. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. What have you got an action left? Yeah, you dodge in. and shut
Because
the
I
door.
dodge in, shut the
Yeah,
door.
you can come fight things.
Yeah, beautiful.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
dodge in and shut the door. That's glorious.
So that goes there, and
Yeah.
then
I'm
And
just
then you've got to shut the door. Cool.
door
I was
shut.
going to pick up Dawnguard before they go flying.
Yeah, no, I moved Dawn Guard out of the way. So I'm
Good.
gonna lock that door in place just so we don't accidentally pick it up. Good, really nice.
Smashing.
move.
There we go. Everybody's
All right.
fine here. We're all fine.
So do you want to roll for the Wandering Monster because we're still making a hell of a racket?
I really don't.
Well, we got the door
But-
shut
but I
now, so
will.
we're in good shape.
Yeah.
Better shape.
Better shape.
So less than 5. 3.
Nice.
It can stay out
well.
there. Nothing to worry about. We're all
Not
fine.
the worst draw from the cards.
Okay.
Well, where are we?
Interesting.
Stoneheart, Dawnguard, Brigands, Brits, and then myself, bringing up the rear, as is only right when I'm a rogue.
Okay. So you could do the same trick again potentially.
I think I'm going to backswing to start with on this one.
You're gonna backswing to start with. Okay.
On that brute, purely because
Yeah. No. I think that's a viable strategy as well.
it'll flip him over. So
Yeah. Go
basically,
on, let's do it. See what happens.
well, optimistically, he says. Anyway,
Our survey says. Wah, wah.
it says 3 is the magic number, but not in this case.
No.
So my backswing misses. I will just go with balanced thrust then against that same wounded grunt, I think. And that will hit. That's good. I will roll my damage.
Okay.
Not going to do too much, but for the sake of doing it properly. And
Yeah,
just
you got him. You
So
got it.
there's one less brigand to concern myself with, at least.
Cool.
Good.
All right. So that wasn't the end of the world. Okay. So right. Dawn Guard's going to go guiding strike on one of these hobgoblins that's in the same zone as me.
Mhm.
I am +2. That is a hit. Rolling my d6 against toughness of 4. That is a serious wound and a push. Why would we put a serious wound and a push? Well, because I generate. I'm going to push him, generate a point of fate because I'm disengaging him from you, Night Feather, and then he dies. So we've got a point of fate, which is what do I want to do with a point of fate? I feel like do I want to put a Wrath of God on? Yeah, I'm going to put a Wrath of God on the big fella, I think. Because I've got a range of +1 with that, so I've got a range of 2 with my Wrath of God. So it's a magical attack, so I bypass his thingamajiggy. Disadvantage. Oh, God, come on!
Dice just do not want us to get through this, do they?
No.
It's a tough fight. Okay, that's my go done. So the brigand, the last remaining brigand on you, Night Feather. No, it's going to be on me.
It's going to be on you. You're
Yeah,
so far up the priority compared to me.
That
Have
is
fun.
fine. Oh God. Okay, I'm going to take a win for that. Bang. All right. Look. We've survived that thing. The brute's going to go on you, Stoneheart, because you're in the same zone.
Feeling optimistic. I am unfortunately not made it.
Ooh.
Now, in the main game, without any healing potions available to us, that would be the end of that. And we would fail, we would retreat and lick our wounds and basically go again. And because we haven't gone far enough into the dungeon, we probably would have been put down as a fail for this particular encounter. There is a mechanic in the game which are healing potions. So when a hero is dropped to 0, you can use a healing potion to bring them back to life, much like they do in a role-playing game.
Mm.
The downside is healing potions are mind-bendingly expensive. So we can choose to drink a healing potion knowing full well that that's likely to cost us more than the treasure we're going to get from this entire encounter, but at least we can carry on going. The choice is yours. I feel like we've given a good account of the game.
Yeah.
If you want to call it there and on the sad demise of Stoneheart because we didn't want to buy a healing potion for him, then we can do so. Or we can drink healing potion and carry on and see if we can win the fight.
I'm normally easy either way. I would just like to point out the mechanic of failing forward, as you called it earlier, which is if you fail a dungeon, if you've gone far enough, you still get some XP.
Right.
But we haven't. Is that purely just an amount of tiles, or is it the distance across the actual table you've made, or?
It varies depending on the encounter. One useful metric is to look at the amount of treasure that we've accumulated. And that's a much more reliable way of us measuring progress through a dungeon. The trapdoor didn't generate any treasure for us because you didn't fall into the pit, but that could have generated treasure. So every encounter that you every kind of room or corridor you come into usually will have an opportunity to generate some treasure. So it's the amount of treasure that you've got. So on a short distance adventure, a couple of pieces of treasure means that we've done enough in that dungeon to warrant failing forward. But because we haven't in this instance, we walked right into a tough fight. We will fail backwards on this one, unfortunately.
Well, I think we just we slink off and mourn the loss of Stoneheart.
Get back down to the tavern and hire another dwarf fighter.
Yeah, I mean they're all the same at the end of the day, aren't they?
Well, they're cheaper than a healing potion.
Well, that is very true. But no, it's a fantastic example of just how the mechanics play out without bringing people completely through the dungeon. So it leaves a lot for them still to explore and work out what's going on themselves, and without just being spoon-fed. We could have obviously just went in here, face rolled out the other side, and then people would have went, "Oh, that's very easy." We wanted people to see just how difficult it is. Obviously, we deliberately threw ourselves in against the hardest things. That's how I'm choosing to interpret this.
Well, look, to be fair, that was we knew that was a tough room. We absolutely could have backed out and shut the door and spiked it and then gone the other way around, but we wanted that bloodstone.
It looked fantastic at the time. It was so shiny sitting there in the corner. Who knew how many people would have to be murdered up to get to it?
Unfortunately, we should probably question whose blood it actually was on the stone. It could be something else completely different underneath.
And this the other beauty of this is it absolutely demonstrates how authentic the demo is. We are not preloading this in any way, because trust me, I wouldn't have put those two cards together for a demo.
But no, it's a fantastic little mechanic. I love obviously procedurally generating dungeons is always fun anyway, because it means you're getting into a game very quickly. You're not having to sit down and somebody's having to go through a scenario and work out the corridors, the tiles, and everything else before you start playing. So you're getting into the game in a very short amount of time, and then those very sort of basic AI mechanics of where are people and what's going to go on means that you can get into a fight very quickly with a minimum of effort. So it's a very, very quick game to pick up. Literally, we had a 15-minute chat beforehand, and it was more or less, do you know what advantage and disadvantage in the D20 rules are? Yes, great, go. If anybody has any experience of the D20 system and 5th edition, they're going to take this like a duck to water. If they haven't, it's a very streamlined and easy to pick up system anyway. So it's fascinating to see how this will play out, and I can't wait to see how full campaigns and full adventures play out on the tabletop across the board, because when you add that narrative element of the story to it, it should be very interesting, and I really want to see the characters develop and move on, trying to delve the depths and find the answers to whatever they're seeking. And it will probably end up being a Rakasha at the end of it that will just destroy everybody in their path, because that's what those tiger gets do. But if it's not, then well done to that team. As it was, we should have really paid more attention to the bones and blood that were piled up below that bloodstone, because I imagine it was probably just 4 or 5 previous adventuring parties.
I think so.
I think it's also worth mentioning that there is a bloodstone in the corner. None of the hobgoblins seem to want to go anywhere near it.
No, well, yeah, I think that's very important indeed. So never split the party, but at the same time, never walk your party straight into some sort of massive death pit, I think is words to live by here. So Sherwin, Matt, fantastic little introduction to Bardsung. It is going on to Kickstarter when?
The 10th, tomorrow, as we're recording.
So depending on how quickly my minions get their hands on this and start playing around with it, it will be up and running. Is it running for a particularly long amount of time, or is it one of those?
No, the Steamforged, we much prefer the shorter form Kickstarters.
Okay.
We don't believe in leaving them to run for forever and a day. We want to make sure that there is plenty left for future customers, for our retailer friends. So yeah, short, quick burst. Get in, get some of the cool doodads before anyone else. But if not, then the retailer will be there. This is a game that will go to retail rather than being a Kickstarter only.
Fantastic stuff. So, folks, if you're interested in getting dungeon delving in a D&D-esque way, Bardsung is definitely one to take a look at. It's on Kickstarter now. Let us know what you think below. If you've any questions about anything you've seen here and maybe we didn't explain it because we were too busy in trying to roll dice and not die horribly in a corner, then drop them below, and either myself or the guys from Steamforged will hopefully answer those as quickly as possible. Until then, Matt, Sherwin, thank you very much.
We hope you enjoyed this Let's Play. Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.